let's go through the basic economics. There's a theory called Keynesian theory. Keynesian theory said government must intervene to make sure things are stabilized, to make sure things get to equilibrium and they break even. If a company is existing and is not making money, it will close. But if government comes in, back them up, make some provision for them, they will definitely work. So the challenge now is now on the governor. You can see that we think that Lagos State, Kaduna State, even Port Harcourt are doing because they try. Look at Governor Rufai. For consecutive 8 years, he always have Kaduna Summit, Economic Summit.
Yes.
What's the idea? Is to inject some things that they need, and before you know it, they increase the IGR of that state. So any state that is not, in fact, there should be a kind of KPI, key performance indicator, that federal government will give to state, that if you don't meet up such percentage of what you need to collect, we will not give you the allocation you're supposed to get. So I think if federal government give that condition, they will go back, work in and look at how they can develop their own environment to provide money for them. But if government does not give them kind of KPI that they need to work and government want to see what they are actually doing, they will always come cap in hand and Nigeria will continue to suffer.
Now, my take is that, again, on this issue is that actually, what do these governors, what do they campaign with during the election?
Well, the campaign, Nigerian, that's another problem that we have. Most people want to collect what governors is bringing. We're not looking at their blueprint. So citizens must also do their part. As a Nigerian, because I must also do my part.
If the governor in a state will just fold his arms and say, no, I'm not going to do anything to engage, provide economic development in my state, engage some of the unemployed. Of course, government cannot employ all the.
At least they need to create, what? We're not even asking governors to create.
Then what are they now sitting?
We're not even asking governor to employ.
Yes.
How many? A governor may not be able to employ more than 1 million.
Exactly.
But the thing is, create enabling environment.
So what is the government doing
to actually work and doing business? If you don't create that enabling environment, it cannot work.
So what most of these governors actually doing? They will just sit down there. Oh, now that there's insecurity, okay, there's insecurity. My main challenge now is how to keep everywhere secured, and without considering economic development.
If there's no socio-economic development,
for instance,
security will also be a difficult issue.
The Rivers State governor, he just stepped in, and the next thing is signing a partnership with Julius Berger to construct more
about 200 billion.
Exactly.
Apart from that, I will keep on going back to Erufai. Everybody also create what we call dry seaport. So do you know what? Do you know that thinking behind that? That all the north we now see Kaduna as a logistic capital of the north. That's a good economic plan. So what I think we should do is that there's what we call comparative advantage. Every state should go back, sit down, and look at what they have advantage on. If your own is groundnut, invest more in groundnut. If your own is kola nut, do more. If your own is cocoa, do more. Then by so doing, you will have engaged more people in that trade, in that activities, and it will bring more money to your state. It will create employment. It will also reduce juvenile delinquency. So if you don't do that, it's pretty difficult for you to achieve the expected economy that you
and leadership also said that states with least industry presence: Adamawa, Kebbi, Jigawa, Taraba.
This is quite clear. Though when you say industry, these people also have arrables of land. Most of them is farming. But have they harness the value chain? When you say farming, harness the value chain, a lot of value chain. Anything you produce, make sure you take it to semi-finish or finish. Then people will buy it from you. So that's what I think they should do.
We all know that Nigeria has the largest in
terms of farming, we are very strong.
Of shea butter. What are you doing to refine the shea butter? Because you don't have to export. Why don't you provide, just like what you said, this value chain to some of these farm
So value chain is what I think we should harness now. So a very responsive governor, we know that farming is our business. Okay, in this farming, how have you tried to empower these farmers? Not waiting for anchor borrower from the federal capital.
Because, see groundnut that you have in these states now, you now still take it out to now come back as peanuts.
That's why I say Nigeria is operating a rentier economy. Where all our raw material is being exported, turn it to finish, and you now buy it at international price. So what are we even working on? So it's as if that we're just put our hand looking, and after 4 years we contest, then after 8 years we pack our bags. So they're not having any socio-economic development
That's all.
agenda. So and I also
It's
blame
why I asked, what do
citizens.
they actually campaign with during elections?
It's
What do
quite
they
pathetic
campaign
and appalling
with?
that we are still dwelling. I should also blame the citizen too, because we also have our own responsibility. Some of us are looking at the money the governors are giving us during their campaign. We're not looking at what they're going to do to better our life. You know, some schools are offering free education, some are offering free health to some level, while some does not care at all at all. So all these have negative impact. So while you are collecting those money, you're also selling your future, the future of your children, the future of your generation. Because when there is no development now, you are going to suffer it for the next 50 years, and children will also take over from it. And I'd like to also tell you that I don't know why most newspapers, none of them take good significance